up, beautiful people? Welcome to another episode of Kenganda. My name is Ara, and in today's show, we're going to be discussing it's quite sensitive, but very educative topic. I'm joined with Joel, first of all.
Hi, everybody.
And we're going to be discussing tips and tricks for starting a business in Uganda as a foreigner. So before we get into that topic, I need Joel to tell us a few things about himself, introduce himself, tell us how and when he started his first business in Uganda before we go into the tips and tricks.
Okay.
So Joel, you're most welcome.
Sanyu senyo kulaba.
Nango kulaba.
Kale. Hello, viewers out there in wherever, America or East Africa or whoever's watching.
Anywhere from the world.
So for those who haven't seen prior episodes, I came here first 12 years ago, moved here more permanently in 2012, but all throughout I've been doing business. I first came here doing scientific business in 2007, and then got appointed to be on President Museveni's investment roundtable for a variety of sectors. Got to meet all these titans of Ugandan industry.
The influential people.
Well, there's a lot of them, but yes, I met some of them. And so I've gotten involved and I've gotten educated. They were my mentors. So knowing people like Patrick Bitature and Rostas and Subuga and Sudir and Charles Mbire and blah, 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 they were able to give me tips and tricks too. A lot of things, to avoid doing, and not that I did, but I didn't always follow the advice, and I paid the price.
Before we continue, let me ask a question. You said you knew a few people here, and they give you some tips and tricks. Do you feel like for any foreigner moving into a different country and wanting to do business that side, do you think they should have like a local person, someone from that country, to help guide, give tips and tricks here and there?
Definitely.
So that's your number one tip.
Yes, number one, and I'm willing to be that guy. And I'm willing to help
that
you.
Is so generous of you.
But I don't do it for free. People pay me.
I was trying to tell them that you're being so generous, but still you're being so generous.
Well,
you're willing to offer the help and all that.
Exactly.
Still being generous.
No, I'm going to be setting up an offer where people can Skype with me, and for $100 an hour, they can pick my brains, and if they want to go further, we can go much deeper. I can help them with a feasibility study, a new business they want to get involved in or expand. I can help them raise capital.
That is like, what should I say? It's you helping someone who's just starting from zero to start from somewhere, because you're giving them all the experience you've had in all these years.
That's right.
And giving them as a stepping stone.
Well, because I've seen so many not do this, and people come here with a few $100,000, which is a lot by Ugandan standards, but it goes quick. It goes quick here, right? If you're not really wise about how you're spending money, there's a lot of mistakes. There's a lot of trickery. There's a lot of
about trickery.
We have a whole street devoted to forgery.
A whole
street of densely populated shops. Nasser Road. It manufactures forgeries on a phenomenal level, and the amount of fraud.
When did you learn about that street?
When I arrived, Patrick
That was fast.
Bitature sent me there to study it.
Wow.
And he sent me to study Chikubo and Nasser Road. And I spent 6 months there, every day.
You would go to study.
Yeah, and I would learn who was trading with who and how it worked. And I was completely ignorant when I started.
But you learned.
And as a visible minority, people trying to pickpocket me and whatnot. Anyways, I just had to pay my dues. I paid my dues and learned a lot. But even so, even though I knew that went on, I still got bamboozled. I was still conned.
Even when you knew.
I didn't think about just how deeply you can't rely on formal documents here. That formalities on the web or on a piece of paper means really nothing. People will manufacture that. And you may think that someone's providing collateral on a loan, but all of the documentation is fraud. In fact, even the people that have come and handed you these documents, their land titles, and old men quaking, seeming they're actors. and they have actors play these roles, and it's just an elaborate. Oh, I've been through it. I went through losing a hell of a lot of money, and it was humiliating and frightening. You wonder who can you trust? What really can you trust? What's real?
You can lose
everything
at once, and you can lose things at least expected time.
And the con artists are clever. They play the long con. Oh, phone theft, sell that stuff going.
Just snatch those things. So the first tip was for them to know someone in the country to help guide and give tips. The second one is to be aware of fraudsters, all the tricks that they play, and be aware of how you handle your money.
Land here is a sensitive subject. It's very emotional and passionate and filled with illegality and dishonesty. And like we were trying to set up a large farm here. I was doing this on behalf of a Canadian investor, and we put in a lot of money doing the research and preparing everything. We went through over 24 large pieces of property, and only 2 of them survived legal due diligence. Only 2 out of like 25.
Wow.
All the others were fraud, or there was all kinds of disguised caveats of money lenders, or a family member who also had a document that was in conflict with somebody else, or just all kinds of huge issues. And many businesses start off with land, and everybody wants to feel like a hotshot buying a chunk of land here. And then turns out you didn't really buy anything. You bought just some paper that was worthless. And maybe now you bought yourself some lawsuits, because now you're stuck.
That's the third point, right? Land. Because for most businesses that you'd want to set up, you need land. But then he tells us that land has a lot of issues. People are very emotional when it comes to land. There are many fraudsters when it comes to land. So you have to be careful as you process land for whatever business you might want to open up. What would be your next tip?
So many. There's so many. Now, on communication, in the U.S., in America, in Canada, Europe, we have certain assumptions when we communicate that words mean the same thing, and they don't. In people's minds, they don't have the same meaning, and people will report something as a fact when it's just a speculation. They will report something as a fact when it's just a rumor, and they won't even be able to tell you where it came from. And you try to find out, how do we know this? And so it becomes very crucial to check every single thing you hear someone say. Try to find out what is the foundation of this statement. Who told them? On what basis did they say that? Did they see it? Or did they just speculate, hear about it? Is it third hand, fourth hand? Is it imagination? Because people are tall tale tellers here. People love telling stories.
That's something I've also experienced.
Big stories get told here. And people, of course, get bad rumors about them that aren't true, and positive things about them that aren't true, right? So it's just finding truth and trust. That's one of the things I've discovered, that the trust deficit is the biggest challenge of development. I thought it was going to be energy poverty when I first came. And energy poverty is serious, but the trust deficit is just gigantic.
It's too much.
Well, people here people here want to do something. They want to be involved. And so they'll represent themselves as having skills that they don't have. Just because they figure, I'll learn. I can learn. Or I saw it on the internet.
Or you could teach me.
Or you could teach me. So I can do it. I can do it. And then you find out that they really don't have the skill. Or not at the level that a foreigner would expect. And you would hope that many times people have lateral skills. Like if they know stonework, they should know brickwork. It doesn't work that way here. The person knows one thing, if you're lucky. And we make assumptions that, oh, it's just construction. This guy knows construction. He should be able to do this. It doesn't work that way. Not all the time. Not actually very often at all. So our assumptions often get us into trouble. And also Americans don't want to feel like they're being exploitative or racist. And so as progressives or liberals, we are very vulnerable to being victimized. And because we don't realize that people aren't always good, right? And you actually should never be in a rush. That's another big piece of advice.
Yeah,
Don't be in a rush here.
Be in a rush.
When you're in a rush here, you're just visiting or just starting.
And then you want to rush.
You want to build your whole company, and so I'm going to start trusting this person. Why? You met him at a bar, you met him at a hotel. That's where the con artists hang out. So they go where the money is.
They know where they hang out.
Oh yeah, and you're their food. They're the mosquitoes, and so you have to take your time. I tell everybody you have to very carefully nurture your social garden, and don't just be planting anybody in your garden. You need to take the time to really get to know people, and far beyond your imagination of what they are. Really get to know people, listen to them, and observe what their interests are. And for foreigners, really learn to observe people as individuals, not just as a symbol and or as a stereotype, but as really get to know people. Take your time, and then realize that other people either might be plotting and planning for a long term, or they may also distort in the way that they have such a scarcity mindset that they do very shocking things. Like they'll steal some trivial amount of money.
Yeah.
And it's just so ridiculous, and they're going to ruin their relationship with you.
Yeah, but they don't care.
And they don't care. They wanted that extra 1,000 shillings. And it's just mind-boggling to us that this person would betray you for something as small as 25 cents.
I know.
But they will.
They will, and they will not care about it. And
so you have to take your time. And again, give me a call. I'm not free, but I'm going to save you a lot of money and heartache and blood pressure.
So guys, those are some of the tips that Joel has given us. But he's a business consultant. Let me let him give you all his details, the contacts, how you can meet him and all that, and then we'll wind this up.
So you can reach me on WhatsApp at +256 784 302928. That's 256 784 302928. Or on email of Pangea1. Pangea, like when the world was one continent, spelled PANGEA, #1 @gmail.com. That's another way to reach me. I have a website for my consulting service. You'll love the name, wakandaanalytica.com, spelled with a K, Wakanda Analytica. And so I have a consortium of people that I make use of, and we work together to do all kinds of really big stuff, from needs assessments, feasibility studies, to putting confidential information memorandum together to raise capital from the foreign markets, intellectual property protection, due diligence on legal matters here. You name it, I can mobilize people. And I know people at every level of the society, across every tribe, every religion. I know people in the military, I know people in the opposition, I mean, whatever, people in the ruling government, you name it. I have good friends everywhere, and I mean nobody any harm. I just want to see this country develop. This is my home now, and I'm trying to make it I want to make Uganda great. And that's what I'm here to do. And I think by making Uganda great, actually it will help make America great.
Yeah,
so.
I think. Thank you so much, Joel. That was it for today's episode. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you found this very informative and educative. If you have any more questions, feel free to leave them down below, or you can email Joel, or send him a WhatsApp, or check out his website for any consultancy needs. And we'll see you in another one. Bye-bye. Don't forget to subscribe and give this video a huge thumbs up.
Tuja kula bagana.